On this video today, I am going to talk to you about something that's so important. When I discovered how to do this, it absolutely blew my mind to smithereens. And I know when you're looking at the thumbnail of this video and it says, Quantumply your life, you're like, Quantumply? Quantumply? That's not a word. Well, it wasn't a word. It wasn't a word until I made it up. But I want you to, before I even tell you what it means, I want you to think for me. Think about it. I don't need you to tell me. I just want you to think about what you think the word quantumply means. Like if quantumply were a word that somebody else invented instead of me. By the way, somebody invented all the words, so why not me? Okay, anyway, so quantumply, if you didn't know what it meant and it just became a word today, everybody have in your mind what you think it might mean? Everybody have it in your mind? Okay, so I'm going to tell you what it means. What the word quantumply means, it means how to have a quantum leap that multiplies your life. How many of y'all, that's what you thought? Something like that. Wave at me if that's you thought something like, okay. How many of y'all thought something else? Okay, how many of y'all ain't going to raise your hand no matter what I say? Okay, cool. We got all those in the room. Okay, so 6 steps to a quantum leap in any area of your life. Now, what is a quantum leap? A quantum leap is an advancement that's exponential in an instant, right? So, like, you don't move linearly. You go from here to here, just like that. It's kind of like Beam Me Up Scotty from Star Trek, right? And I get that that's science fiction, but a lot of the stuff we got right now was science fiction until it became science. Can I get a witness? Okay, cell phones were science fiction, right? Okay, so what if in your life you're an entrepreneur and you could quantumply the number of leads you're generating? Or you could quantumply, like have a quantum leap in the number of sales you're making. Or you could have a quantum leap in the number of satisfied client testimonials that you got. What if in your physical fitness, what if it didn't take like a year to get in shape? What if you could take what it takes most people to do in a year, and what if you could do it in 3 months and you could quantumply those results? I was reading an Instagram post the other day. It really blew my mind. It blew my mind because there was a guy, he's known as the Iron Cowboy. Anybody ever heard of him? Anyway, he's known as the Iron Cowboy. This guy completed 50 Ironman races in 50 states in 50 days. And each one of those includes a full marathon. That doesn't seem humanly possible. He was telling the story. He's like, the hardest part of it was because he said I wasn't used to running a full marathon every day on less than 5 hours of sleep. You don't say. Okay. He said the worst part about it was when I was riding my bike, and while I was riding my bike, wow, that's weird. While I was riding my bike, I fell asleep. Riding my bike. That makes perfect sense to me. I've fallen asleep standing up. Once in my life, and I know this is crazy, once in my life, I was doing a conference call where I was teaching. I'm talking. I fell asleep while I was talking. I dreamed I was playing golf with my brother, and he hit a good shot. And And I said, good shot, Dwayne. And then I woke up. He was laughing so hard. He told me the next day, he said, dude, you were talking, all of a sudden your speech got really, really slurred, and then next thing I know, you were gone, and then a few minutes of silence, you go, good job, Dwayne. He said, I was on the floor. And so sometimes you can be so exhausted, you can fall asleep right in the middle of doing something, right? And this dude fell asleep riding his bicycle. But that wasn't the shocking part. Here's the shocking part. He said, when I got close to the end, that's when I felt the strongest. He said, my last Ironman that I did it in the shortest time of all of them. We are so much more capable than we think we are. I'm going to get into my outline in a minute, but I want you to think about this. What if you are only one great lead generation idea away from having more people to make offers to than you have time to sell? What if you are one great product design, if you're an inventor, one great technological breakthrough, if you're a technological person? What if you are only one great best-selling book away from selling millions of copies? One. Because what if you're only one idea away from the breakthrough that will give you the quantum leap of quantum leaps, and then people who know you now, who maybe they kind of look at you side-eye, like, and then next thing you know, they brag at everybody they can because they know you. Because you do realize there was a time when Sam Walton was one idea from Walmart. There was a time when Steve Jobs was one idea from Apple. There was a time when Elon Musk was one idea from Tesla and SpaceX. Not 100 ideas, one. What if you came up with one premium offer that solved a big problem for a big pool of people who have deep pockets? What if in your health and fitness there was like one or two master keys that when you unlock them, everything falls into place? Like you start feeling stronger, you start looking stronger, you start being stronger. And by the way, those do exist. Do you realize most people think that the key, I never thought of that before. Most people think that the key to getting in shape is working out intensely. Well, that's one of the keys, but it's not the primary mover. You'll often see in the Bible that when God is telling us that we can get a result, he will tell us to don't the don'ts before he tells us to do the do's. The first thing that comes to my mind is Psalm chapter 1, where it says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the seat in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. So blessed is the man who doesn't do these three things. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, but he does this thing. Okay. Did you know that without exercising, you can lose more weight counting macros than you can by working out for 3 or 4 hours a day? We mean counting macros, like measuring, okay, no more than X amount of carbs, no more than X amount of whatever all the different macros are, and you weigh all of your food, you measure all of your food, you get a little measuring scale, the weight will fall off of you. And then if you exercise, and you start getting stronger, while you're also getting leaner, but see, here's our problem. Our problem is we want to undo with work something that we did with a knife and fork. And we wonder why we can't have a quantum leap. By the way, I ain't fussing at nobody, because I used to be Fat Myron. Yes, I was. You say, what do you mean, Fat Myron? 100, I'm not 100. No, it had a 2 in front of it. 225 pounds of Myron. I'm only 5'11". That was a lot of Myron. I'm not exaggerating. Like my youngest brother-in-law, when I met my wife, when I met this girl who's now my wife, when I met her, her youngest brother was like 7 years old. And back then, you know, I was a black belt in karate and like I was fit. I only weighed probably 145 pounds, romping, stomping, death and destruction. I was like tighter than a banjo string. And then I went to Texas one time. He saw me. He's like, Myron, what happened to you? Boy, you got fat. Well, why don't you tell me how you really feel, bruh? But you know what's really cool? One of the most recent times I've seen him, he's like, okay, that's the Myron I remember. All I'm saying is, like, just don't the don'ts. And then do the do's, you're going to have a quantum leap. If you don't the don'ts, by the way, anyway, I don't have time to go into all that. If you don't the don'ts, stop putting stuff in your mouth that doesn't serve you. Eat more food from the hand of God than you do from the hand of man. What does that mean? If it grows out of the ground, eat more of it. As close to its natural state as possible. And if it comes in a box, a bag, a bottle, or a package, like a whole lot less of that. Okay, cool. Anyway, so you could have a quantum leap in your health. You could have a quantum leap in your marriage. You could have a quantum leap in your business. If you're willing to go and do the do's and don't the don'ts. Okay, so I'm going to give you the 6 steps to a quantum leap in any area of your life. But before I do, I want you to understand that you cannot upgrade something that you're unwilling to look at, and you cannot multiply what you've never measured. People are like, well, I don't like the scale. Listen, here, you might not like it, but can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? It ain't gonna lie to you. The scale ain't gonna lie now. The scale gonna tell you what you've been doing. And maybe you don't like the scale because you don't like the way it feels when you can't get the scale to tell you what you want the scale to tell you. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. For the most part, unless I forget before I drink water, I weigh myself every morning. You know why? Because I know Fat Myron is still in here. He in here. Oh, boy, don't he want to run things. Oh, he want. So you say, how you know? Because when I go on vacation, hey, here comes Fat Myron. Fat Myron comes out. I'm not even joking. I went on vacation for 13 days. 13. I worked out while I was on vacation. Working out at all. Myron gained 16 pounds in 13 days. Don't play with me. He's in here. Don't act like he ain't. Don't act like just because he ain't showing up, he ain't here. I gained 16 pounds in 13 days. Now, I've already lost like 13 of it, right? But I didn't lose 13 of it in 13 days. Huh? What am I telling you? It's easier to stay there than it is to get back there. Okay. So So you got to measure. So the first thing, if you want to quantumply your life, you have to quantify. What does that mean? What does quantify mean? It means inspect and measure. Inspect and measure what? Any area of your life that you desire to improve. Inspect it and then measure it. Because what gets measured gets married. What gets measured gets managed, and what gets ignored gets messy. That's exactly what happened. You know what I ignored? I ignored the don'ts when I was on vacation. See, when I'm at home, I don't eat 3 meals a day. When I'm at home, I don't eat 2 meals a day. When I'm at home, I don't eat dessert. You know what I do when I'm at home? I wake up drinking water. Sometimes I have a cup of coffee, like this morning I had a cup of coffee. My workout hit me in the head this morning. I was all wobbly. Right? Like, boy, what's wrong with him? It is but the second hour of the day. Yeah, brother man hit it too hard this morning. Okay, but I was tired because I had company later than I usually do last night. So I got to bed late. I didn't get to sleep until about 10:30, 10:45, which is late for me because I get up at 5. And so, anyway, no excuses. But I was like a little light. So I had some coffee this morning. I don't have coffee every morning, but I did this morning. And so, what gets measured gets managed. What gets ignored gets messy. So here's what you have to do. And most people are not willing to do this part. It's so simple, but most people don't do it. Inspect your current reality. Like your current experience in reality. Inspect it. Check it out. Like, what am I doing? What if you wrote down? Don't even change your habits. Just become aware of them. I promise you, becoming aware of them. What would happen if you got your macro scale and you measured everything that you put in your mouth every time you put something in your mouth, and you wrote it down and you logged it? And you could see exactly how many calories you were taking in. And then you use your Hume or your Fitbit or your Apple Watch or whatever technology you use to measure how many calories you burned that day. Here's what we discovered. If you burn off more calories than you take in, you're gonna lose weight because you're burning up the energy. You're burning up more energy than you're consuming. It's impossible not to. So for me, in full transparency, I found out the easiest way for me to do it. I used to measure macros, and it worked. It worked great. But nothing worked better than, for me, than intermittent fasting. Nothing worked better. Nothing works better than having a 4-hour eating window. Now, when I started, I didn't have a 4-hour eating window because that window was too little for this big old house. Okay, so when I started, I had an 8-hour eating window. And I did an 8-hour eating window until it became easy. I said, well, okay, now we can knock it down to 6. Okay, now I got a 6-hour eating window. So it was from like 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock, eat. And if I'm eating later that day, I'll just push it back till 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock, eat. Or 1 o'clock to whatever that is, 6 hours from that, eat, right? So 6 hours. And then 6 hours got easy. I said, well, I might as well do 4. So if I'm only eating, if I make the window in which I eat smaller than the window in which I don't, here's what I've discovered. Now, you may not discover this, but I discovered it. You don't get hungry as often. I didn't realize that appetites are like people. Yeah. What do you mean appetites like people? The more you feed them, the hungrier they get. But guess what? Fasting also has an appetite. And so the less you eat, the less desire you have to eat. It's amazing. Okay, anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. But for the purpose of business, when clients pay me $375,000 for a VIP day in a year of coaching, the first question I ask all of them, how many leads did you generate last month? Y'all want a surefire method for making at least $1 million a year? Okay. Step one, generate 1,000 leads a month. Step number two, have a $100 offer, a $500 offer, and a $2,000 offer. You can have more than that if you want to. Like if you really want to get good, like have a $20,000 offer. You can throw that one in there if you have enough intestinal fortitude. But you don't have to have that. And then prove to the people who have the problem, you got to make your offer about something like that solves a problem that a big pool of people want solved. And they got a big problem and they got enough money to pay for your solution. Okay, great. So you do that and guess what happens? It's going to be hard not to make $1 million a year with 1,000 clients. You're generating 1,000 leads a month. That's 12,000 leads at the end of the year. Worst case scenario, you get to $100,000 a year. And if you just keep on doing that, the number gets bigger. Like our business does well over $10 million a year. Some years it's 10, some years it's 11, some years it's 18, some years it's 14. It does what it does. And I could make it do the same thing all the time if I cared enough. But we're in the process of revamping our whole business model because of what I'm talking to you about today. We've got some quantification getting ready to happen that we're building for. Okay, and so we generate, on average, we were generating 1,500 to 7,000 leads. We still are, 1,500 to 7,000 leads a month, depending on if we do a promotion or not. In the last 28 days, I think we generated 2,500 leads or something like that. Cool, something like that. And my business does, because what happens is the impact of those leads that you generate over time, the people who stick, like the effect of that compounds. Because some people ain't gonna buy from you the first day they opt in. Some of them won't buy from you the first year. Some of them won't buy from you the first decade. I had a lady come to me one time. She paid, back when I used to do the speaker training that I sold for $12,000, and then when I stopped selling it was $35,000. But when she bought it was $12,000. You know what she told me? She said, I have been following you for the last 10 years. This is the first thing I've ever bought from you. Good thing I didn't quit after 9 years. Okay, so inspect your current reality. Take an honest inventory of where you are, not where you think you are, not where you wish you were. An honest inventory. Like, look at everything. How many leads are you generating per month? From those leads, how many of your core products are you selling? Core product could be your $100 offer, right? Or your $500 offer. How many of those are you selling? Okay. How many of your premium offers are you selling? How many of your $2,000 to $20,000 offers are you selling per month? Like, look at it. Keep an eye on it. Why? So you can do something about it. Okay, cool. Pull the real numbers, your revenue, how many hours you're working. If it's relationships, like how much interaction are you having? If it's health, like what are your macros? How many calories are you burning? How much time are you spending moving your body? Because movement is medicine and motion is lotion. Okay, so inspect your current reality. Then measure what matters. Identify 1 to 3 metrics that actually predict success in this area. Weight loss, macros, exercise, etc. In business, leads generated, sales made. Like, people think they're doing something because they're making spreadsheets and setting up Slack channels and creating Trello boards and designing a website and designing stationery. Pick up a phone and call somebody and make them an offer. Send them an inbox message and make them an offer if you can solve their problem, okay? Establish your baseline numbers today. You can't chart growth from a number you've never worked out. If you don't know where you're at today, how will you know when you got better? So, measure what matters. A goal without a number is just a wish wearing a suit. And so many people in business, so many people in their relationships, so many people in their health, they just have a wish wearing a suit. It's all dressed up, but it ain't got nowhere to go. Okay, so after you quantify, the next thing you want to do if you want to quantify your results is you have to qualify. Now, what does qualify mean? It means improve and manage. Qualify, when you qualify something, you're improving the quality of the thing. And so when you qualify, you realize that you don't rise to the level of your goal, but you fall to the level of your qualification. Like, what's your standard? It's so interesting. I want everybody to know your standard has determined your current income. What do you mean? Okay. Everybody go back in your mind, and if you're on YouTube watching this, I want you to do it in the chat as well. Go back in your mind to think about how much money you made per hour, if you got paid by the hour, which I did, at your very first job. Can everybody remember how much you got paid per hour at your very first job? Okay. I remember how much I got paid. Somebody shout out a number. $4.85, $5.50. These are young people. $7, $6.25, $3.35, $11 an hour. My first job, this is going to tell you how old I am. My first job was a summer job in Columbus, Ohio, picking up trash, working for the city, right? And I was making $1.55 an hour. I was 14 years old. Okay, everybody remember, how much you made. Okay, they're typing it in the chat. $3.95, $3.75, all that. Great. Congratulations, you're a young person. Okay, I was making $1.55. Now, I'm not telling you that, but let me ask you, how many of you, there's no galaxy in any universe that's ever existed where you'd be willing to work for that little amount of money now? Raise your hand, wave at me. There ain't no way in the world I'm going back to $1.55 an hour. Or you're going back to $3. Right. That means the reason you're making more money is because you've raised your standard. Here's my question for you. Why have you stopped raising it? Why have you stopped raising you got to a place where you're like, enough is enough already. I've not stopped raising my standards. That's why my business is growing. That's why we got our $100 million plan for 2026 in place, even though we're only right now around $7 million. Might be 7 point something. But I'm okay with that. You know why? Because I got a plan. I got a quantification plan. I love that word. Quantumply. Okay. So the first thing you got to do when you qualify, improve and manage, you have to improve your inputs. Once you figure out, okay, you got to improve the quality of your inputs. Why? Because inputs create outputs. And so many people attempt to change the results by attempting to change the output. You're working on the wrong end of the equation. You feel me? You have to learn how to work on the proper inputs. So, once you've measured it, ask yourself this question. What is the lowest energy input that I can put into this thing to create the highest quality output? So the lowest, and when I say the lowest energy, I should say the lowest effort. Because you have to be a source of high energy, but when I'm doing something that feels like it's hard to most people, and I'm doing something in a way that doesn't feel hard to me and it doesn't look like it's hard for me to them, it's because I've found some kind of leverage. What is leverage? Leverage is anything that I use where a minimal input creates a multiplied output. That's why Archimedes said, if you give me a lever long enough and a prop strong enough and a place to stand, I can single-handedly, with one hand, I can move the world. See, most people don't have any leverage. You know why they don't have any leverage? Because they were programmed by the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism to believe that hard work is the path to success. And so they feel like they're doing the right thing by working harder at something that's not working instead of stopping long enough to find something that would work better. Okay, y'all tracking. And so improve your inputs and then manage systems. Don't just manage movement. Figure out, like, what is a system that I can put in place where this output can be produced with way less from me? Like, entrepreneurs want to figure out how they can do more in their business. But real entrepreneurs, we attempt to figure out how to use the leverage of delegation and automation so we can do less in our business and still produce more. After we qualify, we've already quantified, we qualified. Here's what we got to do next. We got to simplify. What does that mean? Inspect and minimize. Why do I say inspect and minimize? I thought we were having a quantum leap. We are. But the way to have a quantum leap is by doing a Pareto distribution assessment on the work that you're currently doing in the arena in which you want to have, like, progress. So what is a Pareto distribution analysis? What does that mean? The Pareto distribution principle is that 80% of my results are coming from 20% of my work. So my job is to figure out which 20% is producing the 80% and then eliminate the 80% that's producing 20%. And then guess what I have? I've got 20% of what I used to do that's producing 80% of what I used to produce. And if I want to produce more, I don't produce more by doing more. I take my current, what used to be 20%, which is now 100%, and I take the 80% of those things that I'm doing. And so what's happening is I'm minimizing effort, but multiplying effect. That's how you have a quantum leap. Like, by the way, hopefully what I'm saying is making sense. Like, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example. In 2020, our business did $1.6 million in revenue. That was a good year. We were happy as a lark in the park in the dark. We were happy. 1.6 million? Child, please. In 1 year? Man, bruh, you better ask somebody. So, 2022, well, in 2021, at the end of 2021, I was at this conference. This guy started talking about how people make money from YouTube. Say that one more time in my good ear. YouTube will pay you for making videos. YouTube will do what for what? Now, you gotta understand now, I'd already had a YouTube channel for 14 years. I had no idea. No, you don't understand. None. That YouTube paid people for videos. No idea. When I was going through my 7 years of famine, I could have been making videos and YouTube could have been paying me, but I didn't know. I knew how to create videos. I just didn't know I needed to do it. Okay? So we started April of 2022. I made a decision. Well, in March, I made the decision. Starting April 1st of 2022, I'm going to produce at least one YouTube video a week for the next 10 years. And I'm going to see if I can get good at this. Because somebody said YouTube will pay you a whole bunch of money For making videos. For making videos? I have been making videos, like I've been doing a Bible study here in Tampa for years. In fact, at that time, 2022, 9 years I'd been doing a Bible study here in Tampa. For probably 6 or 7 of those years, I was broadcasting that Bible study on Facebook in a Facebook group. If I had been doing it on YouTube, they would have been sending me money. Shut up. You don't have to tell me 10. Guess what? We have posted a video, at least one, most of the time 2 now, but at least one video every week for the last 4 years. Every week. Whether I feel like it or not. And sometimes I don't feel like it, but it don't matter because it's time. Every week. And guess what? Our revenue went from, we went from, in 2021 we did 1.6. In 2022 we did 2.6. I mean, 2021 we did 2.6. In 2022 we did 6.2 million. Just from that one quantiplication move. 2023, $18 million. One move. I'm not saying that's going to happen for you. I'm just saying I did not, you don't understand. When I decided I was going to start making YouTube videos every week, I had no idea it was going to bring me more clients than I could ever go find myself. I had no idea. I had no idea that YouTube, like the first month when we turned on monetization, which was in February of 2022. Because what you say, Myron, I thought you learned about it at the end of 2021. I did. But I didn't know where the button was. It took me a couple of months to find the button, okay? For those of you who think you're way too far behind and you're not smart, it took me from October of 2021, when I found out about it, to February of 2022 to push the button. Okay, why am I telling you that? Because Myron, y'all think, oh, Myron's different. Yeah, he's different, all right. Right? And when I didn't really push the button. I had a guy on my team who pushed the button. He pushed the button. Then he comes to me the next month. He says, hey, we made $305 last month from YouTube. I said, for what? He said, from the videos you have on YouTube. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that meant because I hadn't posted a video since June of the previous year. The next month he comes to me and he says, hey, we made $357 or $353 this month. For what? He's like, dude, for the videos you already have on YouTube. Sometimes I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Thankfully, I'm not a wooden spoon. Okay, I got it. We started April 1st doing a video a week. We went from $357. This is not going to happen for most people, but it did for me. But you know why it happened for me? Because I'd already killed the lion and the bear. I'd already developed the habit of doing weekly videos. I was just doing it in an arena where it didn't matter financially. I just moved over. And do you know what? April of that year, when I first started creating videos every week, YouTube sent me $15,700 and a whole bunch of clients. I'm like, surely this doesn't happen every month. And I was right, it didn't. Because the next month it wasn't 15,000. It was 27,000. What is happening here? I'm so confused, right? The next month it was 44,000. And it started compounding. Then it started backing up a little bit. Then it came up, then back up, and it ebbs and flows. And then somebody asked me a question, and so I said, you know what I think I'll do? I'll take my business channel and make it my business channel, which is this channel, but then I'll do my Bible study channel, Bible study with Myron Golden, and I'll have 2 separate channels. That way, the algorithm won't be confused about who to send what to. So I started a Bible study channel in July of 2024. So that's July 1st, 2024. So that's 2 years ago. Last month, the Bible study channel. I was going to do the Bible study anyway. I've been doing the Bible study since 2013. I've been doing that Bible study for 13 years. Every week. Guess what? Last month, the Bible study channel paid me $14,000. One video a week for 2 years. All I'm saying is you can create, you can figure out what the thing is that's not taking you that much time. Figure out the simplification and simplify it. Guess what? We got to $18 million in revenue in a year spending $0 on ads. Just saying, simplify. I wasn't working harder. In fact, I was working a lot less hard. But the one thing I made sure I was going to do, my simplified task, I'm going to make sure I am here in this chair until we get our new chairs, which hopefully will be here soon. But in this chair, every Monday morning and every Thursday morning, from around 9-ish o'clock, 9:15, 9:20, somewhere in there, till 11 o'clock, and I'm live from 10 to 11, or 10 to 10:45. Every Monday and every Thursday. Monday on the business channel, Thursday on the Bible study. I'm going to do that every week, whether I want to or not. Why? Because that is a simple move that takes me a couple of hours a week that makes me millions of dollars. Okay, so simplify. Now, once you get something simplified, now it's time to amplify. What's the purpose of amplification? To infiltrate your market. A great result that nobody hears about might as well not even exist. So once you get a process that works really, really well, you got to amplify your message. So, any guitar players in the room, or just me? Okay, a couple of guitar players, just a couple of us. Okay, so most of my guitars are acoustic electric. I got a couple that are just electric. I got a couple that are just acoustic, but most of my guitars are acoustic electric. You know what happens when I plug a guitar into an amplifier? It gets louder. Yeah. That's why they call it an amplifier. So what you want to do when you find something that works, that you've simplified, you've quantified, you've qualified, now you've simplified, what you want to do is you want to start making a lot of noise about the solution that you've created. I've said it, if I've said it once, I've said it 111 million times. The way to become successful is to hyper obsess over someone else's problem until you find the most elegant solution. And then let the world know you've got the solution. It has changed my life in ways I could not have calculated. I remember one of my friends, and who's one of my past mentors. His name's Ben. I'm not going to tell you his last name, but his name's Ben. This guy was making $60,000 a month in 1995. That's crazy. He was making $90,000 a month in the 2000. And when I heard those numbers, they didn't make sense to me. I didn't know how to make that make sense. I don't know if what I'm saying resonate. You can't wrap your mind if you've never made that amount of money. You can't wrap your mind around. Maybe you can. I couldn't wrap my mind around $90,000 a month because I had never made $90,000 a month in 2000. Now later I'd made $90,000 a month, and in the mid 2000s, so I got that. Then I'm having a conversation with Jerry, another one of my mentors, back when Ty Lopez was in his garage with his Lamborghini. Remember that? He had more video views on YouTube than just about anybody. And so I'm watching Ty Lopez, and I said, Jerry, how much do you think Ty Lopez makes? He said, I don't know, probably about $800,000 a month. I'm thinking to myself, $800,000. This is in 2015 when I'm broke. I was broke in 2015. I was on the bounce back. I felt broke. I wasn't broke. 2014, I was broke. 2015, I felt broke. I was on the bounce back. I was on the comeback. And when he said $800,000 a month, how do you make $800,000 a month? That number seems so unreachable in my brain. 800,000 a month. What is that? Like, what do you have to do to make 800,000 a month? I don't know. Have a $1,000 offer, sell it to 800 people. Or have a $10,000 product and sell it to 80 people. Or you could have an $80,000 product, sell it to one person a month. I'm just saying there are ways to get there. Now, back then, my mind didn't simplify stuff like that because I hadn't done most of them. So now, when I think of 800,000 a month, it's just 800,000 a month. But when I say 800,000 a month, to you that just sounds so way out there. And it is. It is way out there. Until it's not. Until you have a quantifying effect in your life that catapults you into an arena that you didn't know you could play in, that you didn't know you'd ever be in. If someone would have told me, even 10 years ago in 2016, when I was still making less than $1 million a year, that in 10 years, you would be making so much more than $10 million a year that you can't even imagine. I'm like, what are you talking about? I would have to say, what are you talking about, bro? What does that even mean? Right? And so you amplify, and then you magnify. What does magnify mean? It means you increase your marketing. And you can increase your marketing through content creation, or you can increase your marketing through buying ads, right? You can do paid media, or you can do like sweat equity media, like I'm doing right now, because I'm sweating. Which is why I'm taking my jacket off, right? So you can do sweat equity media, and you can create content. Well, both work. Which one do? You do whichever one you can do consistently. Because if you don't do it consistently, whatever you're doing, it cannot compound. And so you amplify. You infiltrate the right rooms, online and offline. Here's what I found out. So for a $10 million a year business, YouTube's a great platform. And it also helped me get to 100 million. But you know what platform is going to help me get to 100 million faster? LinkedIn. Because there are out there right now, literally, thousands of corporations with hundreds of thousands of salespeople who are terrible. I know they're terrible. Because every time I go to buy something, if I go buy a smartphone, the people who sell smartphones, terrible. If I go buy a car, people who sell cars, terrible. Insurance, terrible. People are terrible at sales. It's like, that's how great the industry of sales is. Even if you're terrible, you can make a lot of money. That's crazy. I can't think of another profession that a person could be in and be just absolutely horrible and still make money. Mind-blowing. So infiltrate the right rooms. Identify where the people that need your offer hang out, both online and offline, and show up in those spaces. It's literally that simple. So Marcus over here, he invited me to go to an AI mastermind where Perry Belcher was talking all the way over in Oldsmar last week. And I went. And I just went to go see what they were going to be talking about. I didn't go to... And then Perry puts a chair right beside his chair and says, hey, sit here and help me answer some questions. And so now a bunch of people who didn't even know who I was know who I am. And some of them are probably trying to figure out how I can help them. And even if they don't, I'm okay with that too. Just get in the right rooms. Because I got a call from a marketer, I won't tell you his name, who told me about a big launch that's happening, and they want to get 2.4 million people to this launch online. And they wanted to know if I wanted to be one of the speakers. Online. I don't even have to go anywhere. Let me think about it. Okay. Right? And so Now I'm going to be a part of this launch with 2.4 million people. Now maybe there's at least 200,000 or 300,000 of those people who never heard Myron Golden before. I'm just saying. Okay, so infiltrate the right rooms, build relationships before you build pitches. By the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but every time I do a YouTube video, I'm building a relationship with the people who are watching these videos. People tell me all the time, oh, I watch all your videos, I feel like I know you. That's the point. And I make sure that I never teach anything on YouTube that I could not have put in a book or in something that I would have sold. I only teach stuff that's worth selling on my community service content. Why? Because I know there are people out there in the world who believe they can't afford to buy something from me. Notice I didn't say I know there are people out there in the world who can't afford to buy something from me. There are people out there in the world who believe they can't. And since they believe they can't, I'll create some community service content that they can consume, and they only have to pay me with their attention. But I've had people come up to me and tell me, hey, just from watching your YouTube videos, my business went from $3,000 a month to $50,000 a month just from watching your YouTube videos. Well, that's the point. What do you mean that's the point? See, what I'm doing is I'm proving to people that I can help them by actually helping them. So we talk about quantifying your results, we talk about qualifying your results, we talk about simplifying results, amplifying results, magnifying your results. The last one is multiply your results. How do you do that? You increase your momentum. I'm going to tell you something. It's so mind-blowingly amazing how all principles are microcosms of each other. So if you look at the principles of physics, you got on one side of the equation, you have inertia. An object at rest will remain at rest until unless it's acted upon by an outside force. One of the reasons building a business feels so hard for you right now is because you're attempting to overcome financial inertia, marketplace inertia, lead generation inertia, core product sales inertia, premium value offer inertia, continuity offers inertia. You're attempting to overcome inertia. And when you're attempting to overcome inertia, everything feels hard and many things feel impossible. But momentum is the opposite side of that coin. An object in motion will continue in motion until unless it's acted upon by an outside force. Which means once you have momentum, everything feels easier. When you have momentum, you sound better than you are, you look better than you are, everything feels easier than it actually is, everything looks easier and more effortless. Why? Because you have momentum. You have to utilize less of your effort because the movement that you've already created creates more movement. When you have momentum, everything feels easier. And so, you multiply by increasing your momentum. Anybody know the physics equation for force? What is it? F equals M. Force equals mass times acceleration. F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. So if I want to increase more momentum, I need to have more force in the marketplace. How do I do that? I increase my mass, the volume of content that I'm creating, the volume of money that I'm spending on ads. Those are the two ways, right? The volume of joint ventures that I'm doing. I increase the mass or I increase the speed. How do I increase the speed? By shortening the gestation period between offers. How do you do that? Well, I can do an event once a quarter, or I can do one once a month, or I can do one once a week, or I can set it up on demand, and it can be running all day, every day. So which one of those should I do? The answer is always E, all of the above. Figure out how to do all of the above. Even if if you do the last one, obviously, all day, every day includes daily, weekly, hourly, monthly, yearly. Okay, you get it. So, but my point is, you increase your mass, and then you increase your acceleration. It's impossible for you not to become a force to be reckoned with. in whatever it is you're working on. Okay. So you multiply by increasing your momentum, build momentum loops, turn satisfied customers and their results into referral engines and testimonials and repeat business, and then keep on doing that over and over again. You increase your leverage, not just effort. Ask, what can I now run through my systems and my media and my leverage and my delegation and my automation instead of just running it through me? You don't multiply what you've created by working harder. You multiply what you've created by building something that works harder than you. And I believe, a lot of people are worried about AI. A lot of people believe, I got a gift for those of you who lasted to the end. A lot of people believe that that AI is going to replace you. And so you're sitting there like a deer in headlights. AI can't replace you if you learn to master AI. If you learn to master AI, then AI becomes your tool instead of you becoming its fool. You just learn how to use it. It's a simple. Learn how to use it to create whatever's missing. Like, let it fill in some gaps in your current life and business. So, and when you do that, it'll change everything. If you qualify the process, if you quantify the truth, qualify the process, simplify the systems, amplify and measure and magnify the momentum, you will multiply the results. That's not a motivation, that's a formula. This is what I do. This is what people who win do. They do all of these things. And this is why, while you're doing your best to have an incremental improvement, other people are literally having quantum leaps. But you could have a quantum leap. Principals don't care that you're using them. Oh, I'm not going to work now because you're using it. No, that's not how this works. So I've got a gift for y'all. I created an AI age blueprint. I think it's about 12 or 13 pages. An AI age blueprint, things that you can do to keep from being left behind in the age of AI. So if you go to AIAgeBlueprint.com, or you can scan the QR code if you're on YouTube, and the link is in the description. If the QR code somehow does something wonky because technology doesn't always do what you want it to do, AIAge, there's no D on the end of age, AIAgeBlueprint.com, then you'll get the blueprint that will teach you how to not get left behind in the AI age. Thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, Wednesday, ordinarily, we wouldn't be back on this channel until next Monday. But this coming Wednesday, on this same channel, at this same time, 10 a.m., it'll probably last for 2 or 3 hours. I'm just telling you. By the way, the people in the room, you're invited to come back.